Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman.
And hello, everybody. We're here again. Another amazing Spiritual Rockstar Podcast show. Rocket ship. Here we go. We're having fun. And I've got an amazing guest today. He knows the energy fields and within the energy fields, around the energy fields, all up and down the energy fields. But he truly is a great expert on energy and energy fields. From what I know about him so far, he's going to share so much more today, and about the body and the power that we have. And I almost want to get right into it right away here, but I just want to welcome you to the show first, though, Jonathan. Hello.
Great to be with you, Dan. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yes. So I'm so looking forward to diving into everything. It's obviously a subject very near to me with all the work I've done to work with energy. Yet, what I love, Jonathan, before I share more about yourself, I love our conversation before we got on. It's so important for us to remember, whether we think we know so much or we think we know so little, there's always so much more, right? Like, no matter how many decades you've been studying this stuff, we know, like, the most wise of us know we don't know that much, really. So, like, at the end of the day, and yet you know so much that I'm looking forward to hearing from you. So I love that you reflected that back to me in a way in the beginning. So
The first thing in my book, the first thing I put in my book is a famous poem called "The Sixth Blind Man and the Elephant."
uh
You know,
that's right,
and what I teach students is, look, if you got together the 1,000 smartest people that ever existed, with the most knowledge ever gathered by humans, and put it all into one package, we still wouldn't know hardly anything.
right, exactly, precisely. Given that there's infinite wisdom and knowledge, right, you're not even scratching the surface, right?
Not even, not even.
So I love that. It helps put the ego in check, right? So I love that. All right, well, great. Well, let's go ahead and share about Jonathan. So, Jonathan Goldman can answer many of your deep questions about why we're here and about our energy. In his 4 decades of working with energy medicine, first as an acupuncturist and then as a developer of transformational energy healing, he has mapped the multi-layered human energy vehicle. Goldman has uniquely described where and how thought forms emotions, energetic material, beliefs, and spiritual qualities live and operate in multiple energy layers that are within and around the human body. So we're going to discover perhaps some things that we're not aware of during this time together, which I'm excited about. This has allowed him to create a form of healing which goes beyond and enhances psychotherapy, allopathic medicine, and alternative healing modalities. What defines the uniqueness of Goldman's work is identifying the specific characteristics, personal and transpersonal, that live in the various chakras where they interface with these 5 energy layers that we'll be getting into today. He teaches, for example, where the actual vibrations of universal light, compassion, calm, forgiveness, and faith live inside of you, and how to access and utilize them in your work, in your life, in your work, in your relationships. And for so many of you work with energy that are listening in, so this is going to be a real gold mine. So the chakra map that he discovered is a core feature of his inspiring, illuminating book, The Gift of the Body, a multi-dimensional guide to energy, anatomy, grounded spirituality, and living through the heart. His work can open the way for an entirely new internal paradigm that activates living from your heart. This extraordinary knowledge has come to Goldman through a fascinating journey that has led him to become one of the first practitioners of acupuncture in the United States. I mean, wow, to the depths of the Amazon rainforest of Brazil, and to teaching, guiding people in their spiritual transformation all over the world. He is a founder of the Essential Light Institute, which is dedicated to teaching the arts of self-transformation and energy healing through direct relationship with the living force of light. So, so Jonathan, we have volumes we could cover today. I already feel like we've filled days of content here. So to get started though, tell us about tell us a little bit about what led you specifically to the work that we're talking about today in your book called A Gift of the Body.
Look, like almost everybody who I've met who comes to do healing work, I needed healing. You know, the archetype of the wounded healer is not an archetype for nothing. So I, based on my own history and my karma and whatever, I came initially seeking healing for years. That led me to an interest in alternative ways of healing. But that was also coupled with a relationship with what I came to call those guides, those guys, right? My guides. So, for instance, 1971, I was in college. I was at the University of Michigan, and a friend of mine had just gone to China in one of the first trips by a Westerner. China hadn't opened up yet. So we went on this secret trip. And it was during the time of the Cultural Revolution. And what the Chinese were doing, among other things, was teaching people how to do acupuncture in like a week. So he came back, and I wanted to get in on the know. So I went to his house because he lived with his father, who was a professor. And I'm walking in the door of their house unannounced, and he's sticking a needle in his father's elbow at that moment. And I stopped, and this voice inside me says, "You're going to do that."
Huh.
I didn't know what that was. Nobody knew what that was. And I thought, wow, I'm going to do that, huh? Took me another 4 years to find a school, which at that point was in England. There were no schools in the Western Hemisphere. I went to England and I studied acupuncture, which also appealed to a part of me where I didn't want to do what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to be a lawyer. And the first time I got arrested and I was in jail and I'm looking through the bars and I thought, oh, I see which side of the bars I'm on. I'm not going to be a lawyer. So it appealed to a part of me where I wanted to be an innovator and I wanted to do new things. And I entered that, you know, so I did that for 12 years, a lot. I lived in Boston. And since there were hardly anybody doing it, I had a huge practice. I saw 60 clients a week, and I worked for weeks and weeks and years until I got bored. And as you know, you can't do healing work when you get bored. So at that point, what appeared was the opportunity to go to Brazil, to a mountain community, practicing a particular kind of healing work that, again, nobody knew what it was. Now, the central practice of that community, which is the drinking of a tea that most people call ayahuasca, right? Nobody knew what that was. In that context, it's called daime. And I went there for a month because the man who took me there, who was my psychotherapist, who was a Brazilian, said, we're going to go there for a month and you're going to do the equivalent of 10 years of psychotherapy and 10 years of meditation in a month. And I thought, cool, okay, that's a good deal. But I didn't know what to expect. I got turned inside out. My healing was accelerated. I got face to face with all of the things that I had hidden from myself. And what got opened in me was a spiritual healing channel that I wouldn't even know what those words meant at the time. I began receiving messages. I began feeling influences. When I came back to my private practice, I still did acupuncture, but somebody would grab my hand and hold it over a person's body, and it would stay there for 5 minutes, and then my other hand would go. At that point, I didn't really feel anything, except people would get up and say, wow, I'm better. So something started happening that was a whole nother level of relationship with energy and relationship with what I came to understand are consciousnesses, beings, guides, who ride on that energy and started teaching me.
Nice. Nice, nice. So, wow. So you really got opened up, didn't you?
Dude, like I was a suitcase and they unzipped it.
Yeah. Wow. A month. A month. That's pretty.
Month of very, very intense, very beautiful, humble people, people dedicated. It was so beautiful, not only the work, but to meet these people who were just humble people dedicated to their spiritual awakening and somehow willing to dedicate themselves for a month to mine.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah. So, wow. I mean, just wow on that. And I mean, we go on a whole conversation on all that, right? So that's a whole big one right there. Let me ask you one question about that. I don't want to go too deep in it because we've got a lot to cover. Some people say, like, I've heard so many people say that the ayahuasca and whatnot, that because I haven't ever done it, but I've heard some people say how great it is, and they go like 100 times or whatnot to do different journeys or what. I mean, really, literally, almost like 100 times. I keep going. And then there's other people that say that these things are not necessarily for everybody. You know, that the medicine needs. Most everybody tells you the medicine needs to. You know, it's going to tell you whether or not it's for you or not, basically, right? So I just want to put that out there because once we get some people are like, whoa, I need to do ayahuasca then or whatever. I want to just pump the brakes a little bit on it because I don't know if it is for everybody. I wanted to get your take on that, if you have a take on it. So
For sure. Oh no, for sure. Look, along with this that you described, my wife and I are the leaders of a community where that does that work that I experienced first in 1988, right? So I'm very, very familiar with it. And I completely agree with you. What we say is you need to be called,
mhm.
right? In other words, what resonates with one person's soul, what's your medicine,
Mhm.
right? So some people, their medicine is very deep, very steady, very constant meditation. That's their medicine. Other people, their medicine is activity, right? My son is a skier. When he skis, he enters a spiritual space, you know? So finding your medicine is super important because the medicine is what helps you in your journey. But when people come to us and they're, now ayahuasca is ubiquitous.
Yeah.
If you happen to live in an area, most areas, you can go and you can do that. I caution people a lot. Don't just go because you're curious. Go because you feel inside you a call to that particular way of dropping the veils, because that's what we're doing. Oh, there's an effect and there's an altered state. But what you're doing is you're dropping the veils between dimensions, between this third dimension that we live in and other dimensions. That's a serious thing to do. To be an incarnate human, that's what your job is. Your job is to be an incarnate human, to do human things, to learn being a human. So to drop the veils is not like, oh, I just want to go. No, it's a serious thing to do. And it should be done with devotion. It should be done with seriousness, and make sure that the people you're going to do it with know what they're doing. Because we live in the United States, and the United States is a place where we steal things from other cultures and declare that we invented them.
Mhm.
you know and there are people doing this work seriously with good training and with lots of respect, and like everything else, there are people who are not doing it that way.
Right.
And it's a delicate thing to be in a vibrational space where your consciousness is being taken into other realms. It's very delicate and serious and sacred.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's good, good. I mean, I figure you give an answer along those lines, but I wanted to, I mean, I don't have the wisdom and background around it, but I wanted you to share more about that because it was a big part of your journey, you know, so in terms of the opening up and whatnot. So I wanted to hear
Sure,
about that. And
for sure. And I appreciate the opportunity because it's not something to be done cavalierly or lightly, for sure. And as you said, it's not for everybody.
mhm,
The point is to open your heart. The point is to connect with your inner being. The point is to bring your higher self to bear on your life. Doesn't matter how you do it.
right, right, exactly. That's what I believe too. I don't. There's different ways of doing things for a reason, right?
For
It'll
sure.
give us all these different ways of playing around, you know, with different with opening up and waking up and you know connecting with all these different layers of our energy and dimensions and whatnot for no reason, right? So there's a reason why there's different pathways
For
for
sure.
each being, right? So
They all lead the same place. We're all going to the same place eventually.
right.
How you get there, it depends on many factors.
Right. Well, let's talk about the gift of the body. You kind of, to me, you're kind of, you know, without reading the book yet, I'll be transparent with the audience. I haven't had a chance to get to it yet, but my thought anyway is that you kind of spoke to it in a way already, for sure by a few things you're saying. But one is like I love you sharing overall about being human, that our job is to be human because so many people that are wanting to be more spiritual, right? They it's time to let go of the body, it's time to ascend, to get the hell out of here finally. And it's just the opposite, you know, it's just the opposite in my opinion, right? And it sounds like it's what you're saying. And so can you tell us a little bit about what the gift of the body is about? And I'd love you to speak more to that piece as well within that too, because I have a feeling there's a connection without having read the you know the book yet.
Okay, so the title Gift to the Body is because I came to regard this vehicle that I call it, right? I call it the vehicle. Some people call it the the etheric double, the aura, blah, blah, blah. But the vehicle is the entire thing, right? The physical body and then the other bodies, which are not metaphorical. It just happens we've trained our vision to not see them, right? It's something you do. You introduce people how you scan it, but you're scanning something real.
Right.
It's just not what we usually see. So I was a person like you described, where my attitude to being in a body was, when does the parole board meet so I can get out of prison, right? And I did many things. I was never actively suicidal, but I did things looking back. I'm like, wow, somebody was looking out for me because I could have, checked out any time.
Yeah.
And so I spent a lot of energy. It takes a lot of energy to not inhabit your body fully. It takes a lot of energy because you're supposed to, you're meant to enter this body. And what I say in the back of my book is it's a mobile schoolroom. This is your schoolroom, and your curriculum is your life and what happens to you in your life and the karmic opportunities you're presented. So that attitude, which some of my teachers have had, of the point is to not be in the body and not engage in what the body brings you, I came to see it as the opposite. And those people, I study Paramahansa Yogananda. Yogananda is like the dude as far as I'm concerned. His thing is, we're getting out of the body. Don't indulge it. Don't do anything that the body wants you to do. It's not my path. My path is to come in. And also, look, we get to see what happens in so many cases of people avoiding the body. The ego acts out anyway.
Yeah.
The lower self acts out anyway in terms of illness, in terms of much of the confusion that happens, particularly around spiritual things, right? The sexual confusions and the acting out and the power stuff and all the ego stuff, to pretend it's not there doesn't mean it's not there.
Right.
So the gift of the body for me is a perspective. This is a huge gift. And what I say is, we actually have 4 gifts. Consciousness, right? You and I can have this conversation and we can exchange and we can learn from each other. An amazing, amazing gift. Number 2, the body that we are inhabiting, the vehicle through which consciousness is gaining experience. Number 3, choice. Most creatures don't have choice like we do. And number 4 is the ability to actualize the choice. Like, I can choose something, right? You and I can choose to have this conversation, then we can do it. Those are amazing choices. And mostly what we do is we take them for granted, or we misuse them. Humans misuse choice a billion times a day, as far as I'm concerned. What are we choosing, right? So all of that goes into, let's consider this a gift. From that, let's enter into it. And then that's what I teach. Okay, if you're going to enter it, how do you enter it, but not be subsumed by it? Not be overwhelmed. How do I become what I call the commander of my vehicle? I'm here and I want to be the commander of it, which means I'm the collaborator with this body in doing what a human is designed to do and maximizing the potential. If I'm avoiding my body, I'm not maximizing the potential. See? So that's my wrap.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many different teachings, right? So I feel much more so, very much so that, it's happening, through our body. So why would we, not regard the body? I mean, so,
I agree.
to me, that doesn't make sense. And I would say that I love you kind of, sort of said this, is that although it may not make sense in a way to us, or it may not be our path, that there's a place for every school, whether we think it's diluted or not, right? I mean, everything, I think every concept, every thought, every aspect, plays a role. Like, for example, like something bizarre I'll just share, like I almost shared it on another show today, is like I like to do the dialoguing with different aspects of my being, for example, like, character types and whatnot, for example. So so today I was writing a chapter in my book and I started dialoguing like this aspect of an evil billionaire inside of me, like, we make money or just do whatever we want or whatever, like this concept, right? So like, this sort of concept is an energy. It exists. It's something real to it. So when I get in contact with that, we don't want to throw it away. It's not about that. It's about being deeply present with it and seeing really what it really has to share with us. I feel like in a way that's what you're saying, with what you're talking about. Like, this isn't going to be just throwing away this body. I mean, it's precious, it's sacred. What is it trying to share with us? What is it trying to give to us when we have sexual urges? It's not supposed to try, oh, that's the trick. They got you, the sex again, or whatever. Like it's trying to communicate something to you at a minimum. I mean, so yeah, so that's what comes up for me is, right. I mean, it's so you're saying, like, essentially, like, we need to value all these, embrace. I mean, that's my viewpoint anyway. So is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And it's a gift. And so why wouldn't we take the gift? And I want to be the commander of it. I want to make most use of it. I don't want to be subsumed in it. I don't want to be run by it, but I want to collaborate. So exactly that. So for instance, you gave an example, right? So there are renunciants. People renounce the body. In particular, will renounce sex. There is a natural point in spiritual evolution for many people where celibacy is a natural evolution. But for me, the imposition of an idea because somebody told me that was better, when it's not natural to me. What is natural to me? Natural to me is what my grounded intuition centered in my heart, that I cultivate that relationship between my consciousness and my heart. And then what appears to me is what's good for me, and I receive. So if what appears to me through the process of the evolution of my being through this body, that it's the time for me to be celibate, awesome. But I believe one of the traps on not just that, one of the traps for humans is the imposition of ideas and ideology in many realms on what is natural.
Mm-hmm.
We impose ideology on nature. This is how it's supposed to be. Rather than learning from it, we try to make it be how we are, and we impose it on our own nature too. So I'm not a fan of ideologies and rules and doing it because it's right. What's right, if I have my heart grounded, my intuition knows. I know what's ethical. I know what's moral. I know what's right for me. You see, it's a different attitude, a different position, literally, rather than coming from the mind. It's coming from the heart.
Yeah, and you talk a lot about the heart space and the way of the heart. I know that, and I mean, and I always say this. I probably said this before on this show. Is like, and all the I did, in the past, especially, I did more extensively, but like all these channelings I've done with higher intelligence of beings or what have you, so many of them always talk about the sacred heart and the heart space, and it's all about that. And one of the things in my life is I've studied books and things like that, but a lot in spirituality, I much less books than my own direct listening, like just a lot of that. And it always says come back home. It always says come back home to the heart. It doesn't say come back home to your head. It doesn't say come back home to somewhere else. It says come back home to your heart. So I mean, everything that I've gained, from that realm, is the biggest thing I would say. They're like,
I agree.
all the intelligence, all you need, primarily. Okay, it's not exclusive, kind of thing, but it's in your heart. It's in your heart. And I think it's such a simple thing we've heard so many times, but it's so true, and it's that orienting tool, right? That really, like, okay, for example, I'll go back to the evil billionaire. Like, I go to these places because I know they have something for me. So I go there, I hang out, I talk to the evil billionaire. Okay, what do you got for me? You're an idiot or whatever. Okay, and then we talk about that. Right? Whatever it says, you just play with. Oh, thanks for sharing. And then you just get into it. And then what I found after I was done, I felt this like steel energy coming up through my sacral. After I talked to that piece of it. And then I was getting about to get on a call. I'm like, wow, that's a little too intense. Back into the heart, get centered there again. Okay, we're good now, right? But yet that energy that wants to come in is still coming, it's being activated in that process. So it's definitely weaving and working with all our energy while we're coming into that spiritual center in our heart is how I see it. So I look at these interviews as conversations, if you didn't notice, like conversations I have.
No, I see what you're saying. Look, here's what I have a couple things to add to what you said. I think what you said is very beautiful. We are exploring the territory of our consciousness and our bodies, right? What I say is we are blind amnesiacs who are dropped into this world in this body, and we spend our life starting to see more and remember. And we explore. There's different ways to explore. There are people that go explore the moon, right? People that go explore the North Pole, right? We are explorers of this inner territory. And so in that territory, we meet all kinds of energies and all kinds of, as you're saying, subpersonalities. And we meet beyond our own subpersonalities. We meet entities, we meet guides, we meet influences that come beyond us. And exploring all that, what I teach people is how to do that, literally, how to make your heart the commander of all that. You see, not denying anything. So, for instance, we live in a world, you and I live in the United States. United States is the quintessential expression, China's catching up now, of the third chakra in the history of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Third chakra is about making, doing, creating, manifesting, right? Conquering, right? So that the evil billionaire, right? What is he good at? All of that. That's what he does. And because the evil part is he doesn't care who he steps on, he doesn't care as long as he wins, right? That makes him a great American.
Everybody should be that way in the evil billionaire's opinion. You're all idiots if you don't.
Right, exactly. So okay. So that's a power. What about we take that power? This is what you're saying, this is my interpretation.
Yeah.
What if we take that power, because it's a power, and put it under the command of the heart?
Right.
The heart knows what is good for all beings. The heart knows what is creates unity. The heart, because it holds humility, calmness, compassion, faith, and forgiveness, imposes on that power goodness and kindness.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean the power is not there,
right?
You're a manifester. You teach people how to manifest, but we can manifest with the heart in charge, and therefore what we create is good for everybody, including us.
Mm-hmm.
So what I teach people is literally, not metaphorically, how do I create an internal structure in my own energy field, in my own bodies, that has the heart in charge of everybody, but everybody does their job totally and completely. Every chakra. The third chakra, super active. Bring the power, but bring it for goodness, bring it for kindness, bring it for helping everybody. Don't just bring it so you make a lot of money. Make a lot of money and help people.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Right, exactly. It's all about that. I mean, it's all about helping people, and the money is all part of it. You know, it's all about circulation of the heart space. You know, it's what we put on money. That's a whole nother bag, right? Like, oh, the money shadows and everything and whatnot, and they have concepts about money, but it's about the love, the circulation of love, of exchange, you know, of circulation, or however you want to put it. Absolutely. And one of the things I wanted to ask, I mean, I don't know, I'm curious about, I don't know if my audience is curious about this or not. You talked about like the chakras. Let's talk about the chakras a bit more. You talked about they're not metaphorical. Now, it's so funny because just not that long ago, I hadn't really heard people talk about them just being metaphors that much before. But I ran across a teacher that says, hey, the original teachers of the chakras said they're just metaphorical. You guys are taking it too literally and all this stuff. And I know from my sense and my own direct experience, this is real energy. This is a real deal, and it's not metaphorical. If you want to look at things metaphorical, because everything's metaphorical. Then I mean, yeah,
right. That's right. Yeah, you can go to that esoteric place. Yeah, everything is metaphor.
Yeah.
Okay, and okay, now what do you talk about?
Right, exactly. So I think it's fascinating. It's just fascinating, all the perspectives, you know, that are out there. And particularly this particular teacher was like, you know, working with your energies, may not be, he wasn't sure yet. He was doing this exploration. He's like, oh, I don't know if it's so well, you know, it's just about being in truth and meditating and being in your heart and, you know, that sort of thing. And so again, it comes back to everybody has their own path. And I think that the more we can really respect and honor, you know, our own path and then everyone else's path, that's perfect, because that's that's the way it is. That's the way it's meant to. That's the way it's meant to be, because that's what it is. You know, it's all meant to be there, right? So that's what's so beautiful to me about all these different teachings and ideas.
Look, and the mark for me, the sign of a person who is in their heart and employing their intelligence in service of their heart, is we can hold these seemingly contradictory ideas and concepts, and we hold them all.
Yeah.
Isn't that what we do? We have a material body. We're living a life here on earth, and we are spiritual beings who are also in touch with other levels and bringing those two things together, right? A healer is someone who is a bridge between matter and spirit and brings spirit to bear on matter to relieve suffering wherever. It doesn't have to be someone who does what I do, put my hands on people, right? Can do that in anything. You can be a business person, you can be a lawyer, you can be a teacher, you can be a parent, you can be an astronaut, you can do, we bring them together.
Yeah.
That's holding seemingly contradictory, paradoxical things in unity, right? So that person that you described, yeah, it ultimately is their he's talking about unit of consciousness. So unit of consciousness, sure. Ultimately, underneath everything is just spirit. Or you can say, if that's your orientation, everything is just God. Okay, and here we are also in an energy vehicle that has a structure, and included in that are centers where that divide that energy system into particular jobs. Unify, and when they are unified, that's what a human is. So each of those energy centers has a particular job. I'll give you an example. Something happened to me 2 weeks ago. So 2 weeks ago, I had a dream, and in this dream, I woke up and I thought, wow, something is coming out of my first chakra. I can describe the dream, but that's not so important. Something was coming out of the sand in this dream, and I thought, wow, there's something going on in me about my first chakra. And I know one of the things I know about the first chakra is that it has to do with family and tribe, has to do with your earthly life. And I happened, like many people, I had some dispute in my family, particularly with my brother. 2 days later, my sister calls me and says, hey, our brother's son is getting married and we weren't invited, but do you want to go? And I thought, oh, here's the chance to heal something in my first chakra. So ended up going to the wedding virtually. It was very beautiful. It was a healing, right? Blah, 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 blah. So I was paying attention and knowing that about that, the interpretation of that dream about the first chakra, I was able to heal something because the opportunity was presented to me, you see? So that's real. That was a real thing that happened, So each chakra for me is its own little world and brought into harmony by the heart. Mm-hmm. Everybody does their job in harmony. That's what health is. Health is every part of us doing its job maximally under the heart, which brings everybody into harmony and unity.
Yeah, beautifully said. I mean, I love that. Yeah, when we can pay attention to our dreams, that's an amazing thing too. And all the little inklings we get throughout the day, is we're in this dream too, right? So, but we were paying attention, right? That we're paying attention, and I had one of those experiences too. Like I had an experience of like creating something new, like a new live event and everything, and but the way I created it, I was exhausted, right? So I was exhausted in a dream. And then we were talking, I just happened to talk about that subject then with my wife this morning. Yeah, I had this dream last night. And yeah, I won't be creating a live event anytime real soon because it would exhaust me to try to create an in-person live event, the way I would want to do it in the near future. I wouldn't be ready for it. I'd be exhausted. So these little clues come to us, and if we pay attention, then it can give us answers that we're kind of wondering, well, should I really do that? I'm kind of getting a yes, but I keep wondering though, so like, okay, there's your answer. Like, now's not the time. So the answers keep coming to us. It's a matter of if we're listening. We have so much to share with the audience. I do want to talk a little bit about these 5 layers because I think that's something that people like to know about, myself included. So most people on the show or listening to the show probably all know about the basics of the chakras, the very basics. at least. Let's talk about these 5 energy layers. What are you talking about about these 5 layers of energy?
So at the center, it running right through the center of your what you consider your body in front of your spine is a vibrating core made up of 2 energies, energies of earth and energies of the cosmos that make a braid in the middle and form the center of your energy system, right? It's like it's a pole around which everything is organized. From that, then come the chakras. They come out in the front and the back. So your heart chakra comes out the front of the middle of your chest and comes out between your shoulder blades. There's a rear and a front aspect to each one. Then the whole system is an egg. When he was 5 years old, my son, who's now 39, looked at me and he said, "Oh, Dad, I see. We're eggs with legs." All right. So we are an egg, right? So at this point, because I'm having a good time with you and I feel very relaxed and I feel respected, blah, 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 my aura is about like this, right? Like this. So it goes about 2.5, 3 feet from my physical body. That is then subdivided from densest physical, and even in the physical, right? Bones and right cells. On top of that, running right on like an inch or so around and penetrating the body is what's called the etheric body. The etheric body is where the acupuncture points are in. It's why you can treat illness before you can do preventive medicine with acupuncture, and you can also help emotional things and whatever, because it's a bridge. On top of that, coming out depends, the emotional body can shrink down to nothing and can be super expanded if you're happy and feel safe. That's another layer. In that emotion, E/motion, is about creating vitality. So why do you feel better when you cry or laugh? Because you're cleaning the emotional body, and the emotional body comes into motion and you feel more alive, right? Like that. Then the mental body, if this is a cell, if my whole vehicle is a cell, the mental body is a membrane that surrounds it and defines it. We are defined by beliefs, by opinions, by how we see the world, how the world sees us. That's the mental body. The mental body is a band that surrounds us. And even if you look, people who we would say are narrow-minded, their mental body is more narrow. People are open-minded, their mental body is more flexible and has more space in it for ideas. Beyond that, then come the spiritual bodies, and there are a number of them, but I'm very practical. Mm-hmm. So the spiritual bodies hold the karmic implants and also are the bridges to these other dimensions. When you leave your body, when your time is up, when it's time for you to go back home, those bodies dissolve, the chakras dissolve. We take with us what we've learned, particularly from the higher chakras, and then we're left with the clay. Mm-hmm. But the clay is alive because it's the vessel that holds all these 5 layers and all these, what I call 9 chakras. Actually, there's 11.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Oh, wow. That's that was wonderful to hear. I mean,
that's my 2-minute. That's my 2-minute energy anatomy lesson.
Right. That's great. I mean, I focus so much on the chakras and not as much on all the other stuff that it's refreshing to keep hearing more and more about these 5, to hear more about 5 layers and all this stuff, and it's really great. And
Dan, let me add one more piece, because I need another 30 seconds. So you have a chakra. The chakra goes out. Let's talk about the heart chakra. Heart chakra goes out from that center core. It's vitalized by the center core, goes straight out in front of you. It bisects all of those 5 layers, and each where it bisects it. So there's a heart etheric body, there's a heart emotional body, there's a heart mental body, there's a heart spiritual body, same in the back. Each one of those contains qualities that we identify as us. So at the center of the heart chakra, the very, very center, if it's a flower, it's that little thing, in the middle of a daisy.
Mhm.
That is a space of humility. Literally, humility lives there. When you are brought to your knees with humility, as I have been, right? Being a white male, middle-class American, I had to be like squeezed and bent and brought down to my knees. You come to the space of humility. On top of that, in the etheric body of the heart, literally what lives there is calmness. So when I need to calm myself, I put my hands on my heart. Everybody does.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Then in the emotional body, which is reached by sticking your hands out in front and making a shelf where your fingers are, is the emotional body of your heart. That's where compassion literally lives in every heart. It needs to be activated. Usually it's activated by tragedy. But what if you can activate it by breath?
Mhm.
Like that. Then another extension of the hands comes to the place of faith, the mental body. Faith is the idea, the knowledge that somebody knows what's going on. It's not you, it's not me, but there is a plan, and somehow it's going to be okay. Beyond that, then, is the spiritual body. Spiritual body in the heart is where surrender lives. So that's a very brief, right? And every chakra has the same thing, has a different qualities, but every chakra, right? Third chakra, dong, 5 things in the,
Yeah.
in the back. Second chakra, dong.
Mhm.
The conglomeration of it, all of them together make up us. So healing then is, how do I unravel the specific place in the specific chakra, in the specific layer that is holding the negative pattern in place? Let's go there, let's identify it, and let's call light. Let's call a shaft of light, not metaphorical, a shaft of divine light to that literal place that's trying to open. That's what's creating the symptoms. Symptoms are created by something trying to happen. Let's help it happen.
Right.
And the symptoms can get better.
Right. Right. That's
Sorry, that was a long rap, but you asked me.
no. That's so illuminating. I don't, I don't focus on those things. There's so many things to play with, right? So many. I just kind of go with what kind of comes to me and what I'm getting, overall, wherever it shows up, in the back or the front and wherever it is, that sort of thing. So that's fascinating. That's really, really cool. Uh, and I think that's illuminating for people to know about. Now, where can people? Let's get into talking about where they can learn more, because I'm very curious to read your book now. So, where can people learn more about all this stuff and how they can work with all these different layers and all this energy and whatnot?
So, okay, the book, Gift of the Body, it's available on Amazon. Actually, we ran out. We're printing another, it's going to be available in like 2 weeks, right? This is, what's today, April 9th. So 1st of May or so is going to be available. We had to print a whole new thing because we ran out. And essentiallight.org, essential light, one word, lowercase, 2 L's in the middle, essentiallight.org is our website. And we have a full array. We have free stuff, we have videos, we have papers. There's a whole library of what we call transmissions that have come from my guide in various settings, both audio and written. The thing that I'm most happy about right now is last September, October through November, I did a 10-session on Zoom course going through all this stuff that we're talking about and teaching people what we call the divine tactics. Divine tactics are, how do you do it?
Mm-hmm.
Let's take it out of the theoretical realm. Let's take it out of the ideational realm. Let's put it in our bodies and create a structure. And I can tell you from the feedback we're getting from people, it works. That's the whole point, right? In other words, everybody's got a good rap. Does it work? So this 10-week course is available. I'm doing courses now. This week, I'm doing the second course, the second thing. Next on the 15th, I'm going to do a thing on the second class on mediumship. which is a very important topic for many people.
Mhm.
In the fall, late fall, we're going to start coming together. I'm going to do a course called the Living Through the Heart process, which is going to involve both online, and we're going to do live. Not my kids are calling it IRL, in real life. We're going to do live things here. We have a temple complex here, a workshop complex on our land. So there are many ways. And I understand, I'm talking to people out there. There are many people saying very beautiful things. And this is like, if this is your medicine, right? Does it appeal to you? Does it appeal to you to work through your body and enter it and heal it and, clean up your karma from the inside? So that's what we do.
Oh, that's really awesome. I'm really looking forward to going to your website and checking everything out and continuing to learn more. And so the book, they will come back in stock, I'm sure, by the time this airs, and people actually more and more listen to it. Eventually at some point soon here that the book will be there again. And so Gift of the Body, they can get that through Amazon, I'm imagining, or
And
right?
you can get it digitally also, but it's better actually to get it, in a book, because it has pictures. it has charts and stuff.
Oh, great. All right, so go ahead and take advantage of that then, Gift of the Body, and then go to essentiallight.org, correct?
Essentiallight.org, exactly.
Okay, awesome. So join me, I'll be there too. All right. Okay. This is really great. I mean, I'm so excited. I literally don't want the interview to end, and yet it's going to. So, all right. All right. So, one of the things that I did promise, Jonathan, is that we would have some fun with me, maybe tuning into your energy a little bit today, for a minute or two. Are you ready to receive?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
What a gift. A
Awesome.
gift on top of gifts.
Right. Okay. Cool. All right. So let me go ahead and just go ahead and do that. Start tuning in. I'm doing this with my mouth because I have a feeling the signal I'm getting with that is you have the sense I'm getting is you have a taste psychic sense that maybe you're not paying attention to enough. So, do you ever notice you have a taste psychic sense? So you taste things that are telling you something?
No, never noticed it, but I will certainly pay attention.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's coming to me on that. So check that out. Sometimes there's more frontiers, right? So
Sure.
I think like what I'm getting to is with even your intuition, general intuition with it is like, but how's that taste? Like that's what I'm getting. I'm getting like, So it's
Interesting.
something I'm getting that's for you
Okay.
to maybe explore, to utilize. It's coming to me. Mm, mm. Yeah, it's really strong, really strong. Getting. Oh wow, that's really strong. Okay, let's see what else is coming through. Yeah, I mean, I feel like too, part of that is like they're really encouraging you to continue to enjoy partaking in the feast of life and all of its physicalness and whatnot, and just doubling down on it even. So I'm getting that message for you. Let's see what else is coming through. I'm kidding. You've got to put yourself first sometimes, and I know you know these things, but like I think that you're pretty balanced. Of course, you're quite balanced, but I'm getting this feeling like there's times when you're needing to put yourself more in the driver's seat, and you kind of go into the you're like in the in the front seat, but you're like towards the side a little bit or something. Like they're wanting you to take more command and charge in some cases where you're kind of a little off. You're a little hesitant maybe or something. So yeah, when the stakes get maybe higher, and you need to be a little bit bolder and stronger, that's where there's like, come on, step up to the plate a little bit more and not be afraid of using more of your strength of your divine masculine even more. So I'm getting that feeling. Let's see what else. One more
I
thing.
think that's super accurate, by the way, Dan.
Oh, okay, awesome. Let's see what else is coming through. One more thing. Huh. Well, that's fun. I'm getting like make love to your wife like never before. Like next levels of ecstasy. I'm feeling like, oh, like so whatever that means to you. But I just get, I'm not getting specifics yet. But like I'm just getting like, oh man, there's like this whole transcendental next level to the love, and it seems it's physical in nature, definitely sexual, physical as well, and that exploration seems to be important, to deepen in right now. So yeah, it makes so much sense, Jonathan, that you're so about the portal of the body, because there's so much healing in that for you on your journey. I get like these feelings of like past lives where there was a desecration of the body, that you did live through things like this. I see flogging of the body is what comes into my awareness. And so that's one of the reasons why that's such a big message for you. So, wow. Anyway, so it's really powerful. That's just share a few things. So any other thoughts or reflections on what came through?
No, I'm gonna tell my wife that you wrote a prescription.
Okay, all right. Okay, awesome. Yeah, but I did.
I'm sorry, honey. The doctor wrote a prescription. What am
This is what's needed, you know.
Very beautiful. I appreciate it, and particularly the thing you said about needing to put myself first. Sometimes it absolutely is. My family has done interventions around this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, so yeah, those are on our heart. One is help everybody else. Sometimes we start to neglect that. So that's an important message for many people listening. So anyway, I'm grateful to have shared with you these things. And anything else you wanted to share?
This is what I've been saying to people. Look, many people feel very isolated in this time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple things that I would offer. A, we need to be really comfortable with not knowing. That refers to something you said earlier. There's so much anxiety that many people have about the reality of not knowing. On a material level, we don't know what's going to happen. On the spiritual level, the truth is nobody knows what's going to happen. And that's the point, is to be comfortable with the space of not knowing. A lot of this, the craziness that's going on and people getting all caught in crazy ideas and conflicts, is based on an anxiety that, oh my God, I don't know. Okay, I don't know. I'm very comfortable with not knowing at this point because my heart says, know me.
Yeah.
Right? The other thing is you're not alone, because when you enter into the heart for real, you are linked on the inner planes through the electromagnetic connection that we all have with everybody everywhere that is doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You and I are linked now because we're in our hearts. I'm linked right now with everybody everywhere. And if I sit in that, that helps that sense of material isolation. And I don't have to then start doing crazy things to break out of it. Like, oh my God. Right. Somebody the other day, I read, somebody was saying, I can't wait to get back to the bar 5 nights a week to get shit-faced with my friends. And I thought, that's not really what I'm looking forward to.
Right.
But it's based on this anxiety of like, oh my God, I'm so lonely. I understand.
Mm-hmm.
But if we take the advantage of centering in our hearts, and then as we reopen the other layers of, right, the outer layers, we can enter a new paradigm, a new way that doesn't necessarily have to have all the negativity from the other way, right? Things were not so awesome a year ago. Even before this, things were not awesome. We remembered as like, oh my God, everything was great. No, there were lots of problems. For me, I know in my 45 years of doing healing work, 71 years of being on earth, 33 years of doing really active spiritual work, that the center of the heart is what is needed and is what is calling all of us. So let's go there. That's what I want to say.
Yeah. Amen. Amen, brother. Okay. All right.
And namaste to you. Thank you for your work. Thank you for the opportunity, Dan, for real.
Sure thing. Thank you. And one last thing, everybody, if you wanted to check me out, just go to yoursacredpurpose.com. I've got a free meditate and make money meditation there to help open up your energies and download frequencies and ask your questions to your guides. And, and people are finding they listen to it on a regular basis. They start regularly making more money. It's just how it works. So from what I hear from the people listening. So we've got that. And then also there's an opportunity for energy scan consultation on my website as well. So go to yoursacredpurpose.com. And I just want to again thank you, Jonathan. It's just been such a precious time. And your heart is so amazing. And that's one of the biggest things I appreciate. And then all the great wisdom and knowledge you've given to us today. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. So everyone, keep on, as I always say, keep on tuning in, and we'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Till the next time, everyone. Goodbye for now.
For listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.